Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is the look that we're going to be doing today and I am obsessed. I am so excited to share this with you guys. This has to be one of my favorite sets that I've done in a really long time. It's so elegant, it's so sultry, and there's so many different designs included in it. I've also got a new camera, so I'm so excited for you guys to watch this tutorial. We're gonna get right into it by using the 1 Kill Gel Remover to remove off the tips that I applied in my last video. I really loved this nail set. It was really pinky, really girly, so I'm sad to see it go. You have to leave on the remover, I believe, for about a minute or two. I think I just went right ahead in it. I probably waited maybe like 30 seconds. But then you're gonna grab like a wooden cuticle pusher and try to remove the tips. If for some reason it's giving you issues, then you just apply more remover and then wait a little bit longer and then it should come right off. Once the tips have been removed, you're going to go in with a sanding band and take off any remaining gel or polish. You don't want to go too hard because you can burn your nail this way, so you want to go as soft as possible. We're going to do this to each nail. Once our nails are clean from the gel, the excess gel that we've removed, we're going to go in with a safety bit. This is called a flame bit. You're going to use this for your sidewalls and your cuticles just to remove all of that dead skin. Once again, this part you have to really be gentle with because you can really hurt yourself pretty easily. So just take your time with this part. You don't have to go too hard on your cuticle because you don't want to do any damage there, but just try to make sure that you're lifting your cuticle as much as you can with this bit, because afterwards we're gonna go in and cut the cuticle. So this really helps prepare the cuticle to be cut later on. This is another safety bit. This one is like a flat end cylinder bit. It really helps with the side edge of the nail, just defining it a bit more. As you see, I've also taken it around my cuticle just like I did the last bit, just to clean it up a bit more. This isn't necessary. I just wanted to try it and to see if I liked it, which I do, so I'm gonna use this more in the future, but this is totally optional. The last bit did something similar, so you can skip this step. This is how my nails are looking after I finished sanding. Now I'm going to move on to cutting my cuticle. I didn't really include too much footage of cutting my cuticle because you have to really be focused and really close to your nail. And so I tried to get some footage as best as possible, but essentially you're cutting all of the dead skin off from around your nail. You want to be careful with this as well because it's really easy to nick yourself, and I think that's what I did here on one of my nails. I did nick myself, so you have to be really careful with this process. But If you do it right, once you get it down and you're used to cutting your cuticle, it makes the nail look so much cleaner. So I definitely recommend doing this step. I went ahead and sprayed my hand with some alcohol, and then now I'm buffing my nail just to get any excess gel off and really smooth out the surface to prepare for sizing the tips. I'm going to be using GelX Prey tips, the short sculpted stiletto shape, and I am sizing my nail, making sure the tip is sidewall to sidewall on each nail. If a tip is too big, I tend to either sand it down or cut it down, or go to a smaller size. And then if it's obviously too small, then you want to go up a size. But you're going to do this to every nail. And then this is GelX Prep, the bonder and the primer by Apres. The initial GelX is for etching the inside of the nail, as you can see me do here. It's just making sure that it sticks better to your natural nail. And then the dehydrator and the primer go on your nail directly. Neither one has to be cured. Right now I'm sanding the cuticle space on the tip just to make it blend easier once I go to apply it. I found that this has made it a more seamless transition, so I really like this step. After I do the dehydrator and the primer, you saw that peel off base coat by Jello. I'm going to just go ahead and do one thin layer of that on all of my nails and cure that for 60 seconds. Just to make sure that once I go to remove my nail set in the future, it pops right off just like you saw it did at the beginning of this video. Because this is gel, you want to make sure you're going around with some acetone to make sure that all of that gel is off of your skin to prevent any allergies prior to curing the polish onto your nail. The same thing's going to be said for the extend gel. Once we apply the tips, it's really essential that you make sure there's no spillage once you have the tip on, because when you go to cure, that could burn you. When you're applying the tips, you're going to need a cure lamp, a flash cure lamp, to hurry up and lock it into place. You're going to start by pulling like a little dollop of the extend gel in the middle of the tip, as well as kind of making sure it's along the sidewalls. I like to squeeze the tip just a little bit so that the tip fits better and the gel all pools in the middle and goes down the nail smoothly. Once you apply it to the nail, you're going to start on the cuticle and press it slowly down the nail, watching that gel pull all the way down your nail. And then you're going to flash cure it for about 15 to 30 seconds to make sure that it stays in place. If you see while you're flash curing it that the nail itself is crooked, you can take it off. Like, this is when you take it off. You don't want to cure your entire hand for 60 seconds because then it's going to be a lot harder to take off. You may have to either soak it off or use that 1 kill remover to remove the tip. The more you do this, the more you'll get into the habit of knowing how much gel to use. When I first started off, I used to use a lot of gel and I used to pull over onto my cuticle and onto my skin, and I used to get like a lot of heat spikes underneath the flash lamp, but now I know just how much to use. I went in with a ceramic cone bit and a sanding band to make sure the cuticle is nice and sealed. The tip is nice and sealed to the nail, so I went around the cuticle, and then now I'm putting on some acetone to melt that tip right into my natural nail. And then next I'm going to go in with a brush, like a sanding brush, to remove any dust or particles that are around my nail. And then I'm going to use a alcohol prep pad just to make sure that my nails are nice and ready to paint. Now that we are at my favorite part, we're going to go in with that rubber base by the gel bottle and do a thin layer of base coat on each nail. With this, you're going to have to cure it for 60 seconds. These are polishes that are really thick, very opaque, so they kind of need to be cured a lot longer. 30 seconds will not do. This is the case for all the color polishes by the gel bottle, the base coat, and the top coat. You can use a liner brush like I did here to help the base coat go around the cuticle a lot better so it's not pulling too much. I like when the tip is melted into my real nail and it flows seamlessly. I don't like when there's a bulge at the beginning of the tip by the cuticle that shows when you apply the nail versus where your real nail ends. So I kind of like using that just to help me there. The polishes that I use that you just saw there are, of course, back to the gel bottle, a shade of chiffon. That's going to be my nude base coat. We're going to apply that to the pointer finger, the middle finger, the pinky, and the thumb. The ring finger, we're going to use a Swarovski orange jelly in shade 33. That's going to be the nail we do our tortoise shell design on. With the chiffon, I'm just doing 1 layer of this. I know in my last set I used 3 layers, but you're not going to really be able to see the nude too much because we're going to be applying the foil later, so I don't want the nail to be too thick. So just 1 layer and cure that for 60 seconds. Of course, making sure that you go in afterwards with some acetone and clean up those sides there so that no gel is pulling over and you don't cure gel onto your nail and have any allergies in the future. lace foil we're going to be using today. It's so beautiful. I am so excited. We're going to use the nail foil glue by Burano to apply the foil. Just one thin layer of this, and you're going to cure this for 60 seconds exactly. You can't do less than 60 or else the foil will not stick. We're going to apply this to the thumb and to the pinky. Before we cure the foil gel, we're going to jump to our ring finger and start the tortoise shell design. We're going to go in with the Beetles shade A112 and blooming gel by Mercart. One thin layer of blooming gel is all that you need, as we're not going to cure this. You're going to let it kind of sit on the nail for a little bit. And then we're going to grab a dotting tool and dip it into that Beetle shade and just dot some brown all around the nail. In hindsight, I probably should have used a darker brown, as this brown is kind of blending into the orange there, but I still think the design turned out nicely. Once the hand has been cured for 60 seconds, we're going to go ahead and press that foil down on the nails we applied the foil glue on, and we're going to make sure that we're really pressing hard because we want this design to stick to the nail as best as possible as best as possible. And then we're going to take a silicone push tool and help us, push the foil down onto the nail. You can also use this around the cuticle as well. This is really good for foil designs that are applied to the entire nail, because you can just go crazy with it. And then once you feel like you've done enough, go ahead and do the reveal. I loved how this turned out. It was really, really pretty. And we're going to do the same thing to the pinky, just making sure that design is pressed nice and hard and into the nail. And then we're going to apply a matte top coat by Canny to the pinky and to the thumb to not only seal in the foil, but to prepare us for some chrome. As I said, we're going to be doing multiple nails at once, so I have not cured my hand just yet. I just applied another layer of blooming gel, and I'm going in with shade 480 by Melody Susie. This is their deepest black, and just putting that over where I put the brown dots to help with that tortoise shade. I kind of wanted to put it throughout the nail. I didn't want too much orange to poke out. I wanted that design to really pop through. Once the hand has cured, we're going to start a gradient design on the pointer finger using the gradient painting gel in the shade white. And we're also going to be grabbing a grabber tool with some gradient cubes to help us with this gradient shade from the nude to the white. I really liked how it was very soft, like a soft transition. This replaced like any airbrushing. I could have done the airbrush, but this is just a lot easier. And if you want it more opaque, you just cure it and then apply more. Afterwards, we're going to jump to that middle finger. We haven't cured anything just yet. And we're going to start our cat eye design. We're using shade 3232 by Caddy. This is their Mermaid Prism shade. And we're going to start the French on the middle finger. I think I'm using a 8mm liner brush to do this. But yeah, just taking our time going through. It doesn't have to be perfect, as we're going to be having a chrome border around it. I also wanted to make sure that I only needed one layer of this. So I made sure that I added just enough to the tip for the magnet to be able to pick up those particles. And this is one of my favorite parts, where you can see the magnet doing its job and that cat eye just peeking through there. I think that's so beautiful. We're gonna then make sure we put a matte top coat on top of it after we've cured it. We've cured this for about 30 seconds. And then we're gonna jump to the ring finger and add the last coat of the orange jelly to really deepen that tortoise shell design. I've added matte top coat to the pointer finger as well because this will have some chroma on it also. This finger will have the bangle design on it as well as the pinky. So we're gonna go in with some non-sticky solid builder gel by Saviland, and we're gonna use a cuticle pusher and take out a big chunk of it and roll it against the top of the lid just to make sure that it's nice and moldable. We're going to mold it into a cylinder tube, and then we're going to grab a rhinestone and put it right in the middle. This is how you get that bangle design. It kind of looks like a ring, so I loved how that looked. We're going to flash cure it with a flashlight, a flash cure flashlight for about 10 seconds, and then go ahead and apply that chrome. Normally I would have probably painted this like a black so the chrome could stick better, but I just didn't feel like doing it, if I'm honest. But I'm gonna do that to the pointer finger and then jump into that pinky doing the same thing. Just a repeat of putting down the solid builder gel into a bangle-like form, adding on the rhinestone right in the center of it, curing it for about 10 seconds, then chroming it out. And then now I'm going to be using some rhinestone glue to apply the small gold pearls. I liked how it looked like a bracelet in a way, like a small little beaded pearl bracelet. So that is what that bangle is. And then I did a similar one on the pinky, but instead of using the gold pearls, I used the silver rhinestones instead. Once the bangles have been cured for 30 seconds, I'm going to go in with that top coat by the gel bottle. This is their extreme top coat, and I'm going to add that to the pointer finger and to the pinky to lock in that design. I'm also going to add it to my ring finger because I'm done with the tortoise shell design. And then of course I'm going to use some acetone to clean up the edges. I wanted to make sure that the top coat didn't pull around the rhinestones and around the bangles because that makes it really bulky. So you can use the brush to remove some top coat if needed. I think I lied. I said adding the cat eye was my favorite part, but I think this part is my favorite part. We're gonna go in with some crazy top coat. This is just a thicker rhinestone gel, and we're going to mix it with that black polish by Melody Susie. And we're going to take a 15mm liner brush and just do some squiggly lines around the border of our French. We're also going to do this on the thumb as well. We're going to do this, and then we're going to cure it for about, I want to say 15 seconds, and then we're going to go right in with the chrome. Mind you, we've already put on that matte top coat, so the chrome should not be sticking to anything else. And I'm just obsessed with how this turned out. After I applied the chrome, I wiped off the excess and then applied that top coat to lock in that chrome. And this has to be one of my favorite nails. the final look. Thank you so much for watching. As always, please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comment section, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks.